All right, so we're going to do a Rook run in Sworn. So Sworn is a game, it's in early access right now, and it's very similar in a lot of ways to Hades. But that said, I think it's a really well designed game. Like, the gameplay loop feels really good. This is your meta progression, right? Like, you get resources in the game, you can put them towards different abilities and different positive effects for your character. And I've put a lot into life. So this gives me a little bit more starting HP, a little bit more regen. Like, between stages, I will get a couple points of HP. Also, if I get a bunch of curse, which is like a percentage decrease of my total HP, I will get more damage. So it's a little bit, I found that it's a little bit hard to stay alive without this. But as I get more used to the game, I might even cut it back a little bit farther, just because, you know, we only have early access for a little bit, and then the game is going back into dev. It's going to be a little bit farther away from us. So this game has drawn a lot of comparisons to Hades, and that's not an accident. Like, the devs definitely knew about Hades. You know, they definitely drew a lot of inspiration from Hades. By the way, I killed that guy and get a little bit of money. But I think that there's a reaction that some people have. Ooh, I kind of want to try out the light attack inflicts stagger. There's kind of, I think, there's some people, I think, who feel it's not really, oh, that gave me back the health I was missing. It's not ethical or something, that it's so similar in some ways to Hades. I strongly disagree. I think that that's a very misguided thought. And if there is any issue, then, you know, the game studios will figure it out, right? Like, if there's something needs to be done there, they'll figure it out, and we can just kind of enjoy what comes our way. And, oh, I should have taken that money. And the reality is that the game is made by a studio that I think is very, very much gamers themselves, and they've made something that is pretty fun just in terms of gameplay. The gameplay is very strong. By the way, let me talk a little bit about the character, right? So I have Rook. Rook's got this cannon he's walking around with and firing from the hip, which is already a pretty impressive deal. But every character has 3 abilities. They have a light attack, a heavy attack, and this is a little bit counterintuitive, because usually your light attack is a lower damage and then the heavy attack is some kind of a wind up, right? In this case, it's a little bit inverted on this particular character and loadout. But yeah, so light attack, heavy attack, and then a spell. So the spell in this case does 75 damage, the heavy attack does 60 damage, and the light attack does 85 base. And I can either get this or I can get this. Both of these resources are metagame progression, and this over here, I could potentially get armor or something from the secret shop. Don't really need to, so we're just going to keep going. But yeah, it's kind of fun to play with, like, how things feel. Like making the light attack the main damage source. In other runs, it definitely hasn't been this way. In other builds, the light is definitely more auxiliary and less core. But it's kind of fun to, I guess, walk around and shoot things with a cannon. Oh, there's something to be aware of here. So you hear how I can shoot and then dot, like, you can hear it go off, but then you see that the bullet doesn't come out. So right now, that's the way that the cannon works. It starts the sound before the, I had to dodge out of that. It starts the sound before the bullet actually comes out. And that can make dodging and stuff a little bit weird. But that said, let's see. Yeah, we don't want that. But that said, it's pretty fun, right? It's pretty solid. This is, I think, one of the hardest quests, by the way. I'm supposed to put the water into the little well while things spawn and attack me. And it doesn't help when I do that. Now, the nice thing is I do have a big stun on this character, so I can kind of stun the things I'm most worried about when I'm trying to put stuff into the well. Or I can just blow them up. Ah. So unfortunate that the guy spawned on me. Okay. More water. I need 2 more. Oh, they ran into each other. I didn't know they could do that. Oh, they ran into the well thing. I guess it's a plant. It's not a well. Come on. Okay. It's really hard to get through this thing without taking damage. Also, I'm wondering if I could pick that up. Okay, do we go more Gothmog to get more money? Gog Magog, I mean. Let's go Gog Magog. I don't know what the upgrades are for him. Your attacks inflict stagger, deal extra damage to major enemies and bosses. That's really good. Let's do that. At least in theory. I suspect that this UI element, by the way, that I've picked up, I suspect that that's going to bug out and stay with me, which is not, I think, the way that they would have intended it. Oh, and it didn't actually, so false alarm. But there are a number of things right now in the game where that it's not quite as polished. Like, objectives that appear on the top right have a tendency to bug out and just stay on your screen for the duration of your run. But that's not honestly something that, like, that's like a line of code, you know? That's the kind of bug that you don't stress too much over. You report it and you trust that it'll be taken care of. Okay, so we're gonna fight the boss now. I think that my matchup should be pretty good. This guy's kind of fast, so my matchup would be better if I hadn't been eating so much damage. See, I'm having to dodge so quickly. Taking a lot of damage here. The dash is a... Oh. A lot of damage. The dash is an iframe, by the way, which is really nice. We're pretty low on health at the moment, unfortunately. I took more damage in that boss fight than I should have. It's tricky because the delay for the cannon to come out, it's so hard to wait for it. Also, the heavy attack is great against snakes since it's got such a wide cleave. It's funny too when they jump at you when you do it, because then it's like you're playing baseball with them. The chainmail, I think, is really good value a lot of the time. So we're going to take that, and we're going to greed here. The skull means that we're going to fight an elite for double rewards. So I'm kind of a sucker. I like double rewards. Okay. So much damage. We have another elite over here. So the elites are basically The elites are basically like souped up versions of some of the base critters. I've seen elites of everything except the snake, now that I think about it, like the little vine snakes. There's an elite frog, there's an elite giant, but I haven't seen an elite snake. Oh, and the elite minotaur dude thing. Okay. Titania is, I think, one of the strongest spells in the game. Do we want, like, one of the strongest choices in the game? Patrons, maybe? Burning Flourish. Your spell will ignite. And it's rare. The Heavy Strike would be decent, too, but let's go with the Burning Flourish. So now we're extra incentivized to use our spell. One thing to know about the spell is that I jump, right? But the enemies know where I'm going to land, and so they will like line up and head, and they'll all be sitting there like looking through their scopes when you hit the ground. So you have to be kind of careful about where you pop it. Kind of wanted to spend the money, but I don't have that much money, so I'm gonna hold off. Oh hey, health. And let's demonstrate it. Well, so you see there's a counter now. There's a counter now when that, or at least when, ah man. Okay, let's just do this. See how it's, I have like a big burst of damage. So whenever that cooldown's up, my spell will just do a crazy amount of damage. It's very good. Also, the stagger on this spell seems to be correlated to damage. Okay, a little 100 gold here. Which side do we go to? We go top left. And this is one of the more dangerous types of enemies, I think. These Minotaur guys do a lot of damage. I don't know why that one over there died. They're also, they're ranged and they'll spam you out. Taking a lot of damage here, I think, overall, more than I should have. Let's jump on that. Okay, and what do we have? Well, I guess nothing that boosts our run. That's like meta progression resources. Uh-huh. Ah, interesting. I thought they would bang heads there. They did not. It is interesting that they do have a little bit of a collision area. Something you'll notice from time to time is that stuff will collide. Oh! We need to kill that. For money. Did we get him? I think we got him. Oh yeah, we did. Okay, we go for the level up, I think. Okay, we level up our stagger. We could level up our mighty touch. I think the stagger is probably better. Or burning flourish. I think burning flourish is the most raw. Looks like it anyway. Oh, and I left money again. So bad at that. Okay, so let's see how good it is. So that's pretty good. The stagger that we get from the Q makes these fights a lot more one-sided overall. And we'll jump in again. I think Got a little bit of health back. Okay, more Giant Slayer. Light touch. I think we go Giant Slayer. They'll help us in the boss fights that are coming. And I actually think that this is my last stop before the boss fight. How would I feel about this boss fight? I would say my odds are pretty good. Let's see, what do we get? So we could upgrade our heavy attack. When you hit an enemy with an ignited attack, apply immolate on yourself. Your ignited attacks are slower, would take a long time to recharge. I think slow burn is the way to go here. We could go for it on our heavy as well. So then we'll have another ability in the rotation. Okay, maybe we do that. Now, do we do this? Yeah, we do this too. So, the Brood Mother is actually pretty solid. She's going to do venom damage, and as I recently discovered, venom damage is pretty relevant. But I am not full HP, and we'll see how this goes. I probably want to start with my spell. Just dodge his initial attack, and then go from there. I wasted some cooldowns here. Spider's doing work still. Oh, I stunned him. Got him. Okay. This fight is getting more straightforward, but yeah, that's basically how the game works right now. We only have the first level. The game's just in pre-release. The shadow on that cannon, it's interesting. Anyway, I feel like it's a really solid game. I think it'll turn out really well in the end, so I'm excited to see where it goes. That's it for this one. That's Rook with the cannon. We ran a little bit of Gothmog and Titania, and we'll learn how to say the names in the next video. GG's.